What's up everyone, welcome back to the ATM Show. I've been wanting to make this specific video for a while now because I like being transparent and I'm hoping to give you some insight on what to expect in the first few years as a new realtor. I'll share my many successes and many failures of my first 2 years in real estate. In this first part, I'll be talking about how I ended up in real estate and how my first year went. Recently, I've been getting a lot of praise from friends, family, colleagues, even strangers about the content I've been putting out. I appreciate every bit of that praise because it means I'm doing something right and it's extremely humbling. But I also want to put out the reality of my situation. Growing up, I never saw myself to become a real estate agent. Even during my time in college, I thought I'd become some sort of financial analyst, an accountant, or an exec at a corporate company of some sort, but I never thought I'd become a real estate agent. During my time at USC Marshall, I took a lot of real estate courses, and at the same time, I started interning as a marketing assistant at a local brokerage. The broker that saw a spark in me was Albert Harapedian, founder and president of Arbitrage Real Estate Group. Albert essentially became my mentor. I was learning firsthand from him the extreme potential of buying, selling, and investing in real estate. Being a real estate agent, making your fat commission checks is just the tip of the iceberg. I was inspired to build my own real estate empire. But I understood you gotta start off small to make it big. During my senior year at USC, I took my real estate salesperson courses online. I passed my exam in the first go and became licensed on April 19, 2018. I officially joined the team at Arbitrage Real Estate Group and I was super excited to finally start publicizing myself and building my brand. Before I was licensed, I already started planning my marketing ideas. I took inspiration from my own broker and other successful realtors. I highly recommend aspiring realtors to come up with a marketing plan before you're licensed so that you can hit the ground running. Immediately after getting licensed, I familiarized myself with all the forms and I shadowed my broker through negotiations and all the transaction steps so I can learn them firsthand. I wanted to learn every part of the deal so that I can become an expert on the transaction process. From preparing offers and getting pre-approvals from the lender to signing listings and knowing disclosures, I studied every practical document. I spent a ton of time learning how my broker markets listings, negotiates deals, and handles tough situations. I still do this to this day because it's an invaluable experience and helps prepare me for similar situations. One of my biggest successes is choosing my brokerage. I'm very fortunate to have a very good broker that's also a very good mentor, and it's really difficult for realtors to find that. The first thing I did to get leads was cold calling. I hated it and I still hate it, and this is one of my big failures that I need to. I have yet to develop a system of cold calling that's actually productive and not too expensive. Cold calling works, but it's an annoying process of repetitive rejection, dropped calls, dead leads, and seemingly wasted time. You might call 100 numbers and one might turn out to be a solid contact. One is still better than none, but it's just so frustrating. It takes so much time. Another way I started to generate leads was to host open houses. At first, I would only do one a weekend or take some weekends off, but after a few months, I realized this was the best way by far to generate hot leads. The open house visitor might not necessarily want to buy that specific home, but it tells you one of two things. One, they want to buy a home now, soon, or in the future. Or two, their neighbor that's trying to get an idea of what this house is going for because they might want to sell now, soon, or in the future. Either way, they're a really hot lead, so try to get their information as politely as possible and hold a conversation with them. Once I learned that open houses are a gold mine for hot leads, I tried to host as many as possible, and you should do the same. Before I was licensed, I taught myself some graphic design basics because I knew they'd become useful. I started off with almost no money to my name and a negative net worth thanks to college. So I figured I'd learn as many skills as possible so that I can hopefully save myself some money. I designed my own logo, I took my own headshots, I designed my own flyers, I set up all my own social media profiles, and by far the biggest learning experience was building my own website from scratch. It took me months, but I did it and I saved a ton of money. One thing that's extremely important and that I highly recommend is to set up a monthly budget for your marketing. I started off by targeting a pocket of about 500 homes. It's very important to not bite off more than you can chew. Start off with that small pocket of homes and repeatedly hit them with marketing so that the homeowners become very familiar with you and your brand. By far, the most efficient way to market to these 500 homes is quality printed flyers. Print 500 and mail them to as many homes as you can through every door direct mail using the US Postal Service. I can go into detail about how to do that in another video. Mail the flyers to as close to 500 as you possibly can and door knock with the remaining flyers that you have. Do this at least once a month. Consistency is key. I still do this print marketing as often as I can, at least once a month. This is a very efficient investment that will always pay off. After a few months, I was beginning to get some solid feedback from my colleagues and friends. I even got a few clients from my flyers. I felt great, but I was getting anxious because I wanted my first deal to go through. My wallet was already thin and it was getting thinner due to all the marketing I'm putting out, and the only thing on my mind at the time was I really need to get paid. I helped several of my clients put together offers on properties that they wanted, but we just simply got beat out. I kept getting discouraged by the rejection and was getting frustrated with myself. One of my early failures was thinking I made the wrong decision by getting into real estate, thinking that I wasn't fit for it. After talking to my mentor about what I can work on marketing-wise, it reignited my spark and I got back to work. This was around the time I was writing blog posts at least once a week, and I was pumping out content on social media daily. And many people noticed. I wanted people to notice that I'm really trying hard to hustle and I actually do care about sharing my knowledge with people. This turned into one of my biggest successes. I still try to put out as much content as possible, even though I admittedly go through some lulls. I want to set myself apart from competition using this social media content. I came up with the idea to interview local restaurants and feature them on my YouTube channel and all my social media pages. I filmed the video interviews, then posted to YouTube, IGTV, and my website. Then I strip the audio and post it on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Then I take snippets and create social media content from the whole video in little clips, and then I post it on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, everywhere. The goal is to maximize my social media exposure to as many people as possible. I wanted to bring attention to our community and share some knowledge with my followers. But again, I didn't have money in my pocket, so I was doing everything myself. I filmed the videos, I edited the videos, I posted the videos, I posted the podcast, I created the social media posts, all this stuff, trying to maximize my exposure while also doing my daily tasks, following up with clients and whatnot. After a few months of doing this, I got a little burnt out and my content started to slow. But people liked my content and I was beginning to gain more followers and appreciation for what I do. Through the summer of 2018, I still hadn't sold a home, and again, I was getting really anxious. So I went back to the basics. I developed a very structured follow-up plan for all my leads. So once you get a lead, what do you do with it? Well, first of all, you should have a CRM, which is essentially a database for all your leads. When you're inputting your leads in there, it's very important to have a section for notes, and in that section you write very detailed notes about this specific lead. Anything you can remember. It'll help you in future conversations with them to become more personable and to really understand what they're looking for. A very successful strategy that my broker and many other successful realtors have shared with me is to not bring up real estate when following up with your leads. It sounds very counterintuitive, but when you ask this person, when you're calling, texting, or emailing them about their life, their job, their family, their current living situation, they bring up the real estate themselves, and once they bring it up, they just won't stop talking about it. And that's when you take your very, very detailed notes. But sometimes it is important to get straight to the point. After open houses, I follow up with all the visitors that I had contacts for, and I get feedback from them on the open house itself and try to dig into what they're looking for. I've kept this habit and it just makes following up with people so much easier. Come October of 2018, I'm barely hanging by a thread. I have social media ads running, I have so much content out on my website and social media, I have print marketing going out every month, I'm doing open houses every weekend, but still nothing. The first weekend I was hosting an open house at one of our listings, and I met this young family that was looking for a home in Glendale to raise their family in. The house that we were at just wasn't a good fit for them. The backyard was small and it was just not a right fit. Completely understandable. As I was walking them out, I was getting their contact information and learning a little bit about what they're specifically looking for, and then it clicked to me. We have this listing that's coming soon that we were going to be showing the following weekend. It was barely cleaned out, but we had the keys for it and it was vacant. So I told them, hey, we have this listing coming up. I shared with them some of the details, and it piqued their interest. They're like, can we see it right away? And I told them I'm at the open house until 4:30, but I can definitely show it to them right after. So I gave them the address. I told them to meet me there at 5. After I locked up the open house, I quickly drove over to the office and picked up the keys, and I went to meet them at the property. When I finally got there, they'd already scouted out the entire neighborhood. They loved the area. So I let them in the home, and they fell in love. It was so simple. It needed some work, as most homes do, but they were excited to put their personal touches on it. The home was in a great neighborhood, had a nice open backyard, and stunning 270-degree views of downtown Glendale and LA. Long story short, we wrote up an offer and outbid 3 others, and after a smooth 30-day escrow, the home sold for $1,250,000 in November 2018. I was so excited. I finally delivered to my clients. I went through the sale, start to finish on my own, my first fat commission check, my first sale. I handled everything like a pro, and my clients were amazed. I still keep in touch with them and their growing family to this day. I felt so revitalized and excited to end the year on a strong note. After that, due to my increased confidence from that sale, I ended the year extremely strong and set myself up for a successful 2019. It's extremely important to stick to your tight budget even after you get paid. It's definitely tempting to splurge that nice check, but you need to lock in on your spending, and if you're going to increase your budget anywhere, it should be to invest in yourself. Before the end of December, I was able to secure 2 more escrows. At the year end, I had only sold 1 home for a total sales volume of $1,250,000, and I barely made over $10,000 that year, but the future was looking bright. Throughout the year, I had plenty of frustrating moments. I had lost out on many transactions. My marketing was taking a long time to become fruitful. I wasn't seeing any income, but I was spending a lot to get my business going. And ultimately, the biggest challenge was to get myself out of my comfort zone. I've never been one to take the spotlight. I only speak up when I'm comfortable that I know a lot about the subject in question. So I taught myself a lot about real estate, pushed myself into the spotlight, and now I'm here. I didn't expect my first year to be easy, and definitely no one should, but I didn't expect to be on such a constrained budget. I wanted to go out and be with my friends on the rare occasions that I was off, but I had to pick and choose when I could afford it. That was a very difficult pill for me to swallow, but it had to be done, and it led to forming very good spending habits and a highly productive 2019. I still fell short of my goals in 2019, but I made a lot of improvements towards my business and my character. I'll go over year 2 in my next video. I really hope you find some key takeaways from this and find a way to apply it to building your own brand. If you enjoyed this, please like and share with a friend, and until next time, ATM out.